Welcome back. Now, embracing the power of positive disruption, a bold new future for African mining. This is the theme of this year's Mining Indaba. Industry facts and figures for 2023 were provided at the sidelines of the events, highlighting a fall in the sector's direct contribution to GDP. Despite this, the organization's CEO, Mzila Mthenjane, says he is cautiously optimistic for the year ahead. Mzila joins us now with more detail around South Africa's mining sector. Mzila, always a pleasure. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for having me.
Mzila, heading into 2024, the Mining Indaba, it happens every year. I wonder if 30 years means anything, and you know what the attitude and sentiment may be 30 years into the Indaba, but really where South Africa's mining finds itself.
So, I mean, 30 years is a long time, even in mining terms. Interestingly, it coincides with the length of a mining permit that you would be issued or granted in South Africa's situation. So it is a long time. We have been having this conference for a pretty long time in Cape Town, a lovely setting. The conversations this year have really been focused on the future, and particularly in as far as the role of Africa in the supply of critical minerals is concerned. But at the same time, there's been a very loud voice for the need for consideration of development of Africa, and particularly South Africa, as part of this extraction of minerals. No longer will government be willing to accept that, as somebody said, you can dig it and ship it. There's got to be a processing, a beneficiation, a value adding, and building of downstream economies such as local manufacturing. And if you can imagine what that would come with in terms of added benefits for the country, it's additional skills development, which immediately stimulates, education, services, and related. It's downstream employment in terms of other industries as well. And that's really the power of the mining industry that is coming through in the conversation today.
Of course, Mzila, South Africa has a very rich mining heritage. I think we've been mining literally for centuries. And as we find ourselves in 2024, of course, we speak about rail issues, we speak about electricity issues. I'm also keen to speak about exploration, where we might be with that, and ensuring that we are still creating a mining economy that can sustain itself.
So, I mean, exploration is absolutely critical to the sustainability and what I'd like to call the endurance of mining. At any point in time, mining is transitionary, whether you look at it in terms of a mining operation that is 10 years or 20 years or even longer. The mine deposit at some point will come to an end. And let's also bear in mind that we mine these commodities in order to fulfill a market need, which can actually be in place for a much longer period of time. So what exploration provides is that consistency of supply and availability of commodities. So it's absolutely important that as a country, we really give priority to exploration and ensuring that, the ease with which prospecting applications are conducted is present. The ease with which you transition from prospecting, where you would have explored and defined the potential mine, to the development of a new mine, that process needs to be seamless, because that's where you then begin to see huge attraction of investment and capital coming into the country.
And with that said, you speak about demand for, certain metals. Of course, we're seeing the energy transition. Southern Africa has a great part to play in it. In South Africa, I'm worried about our strategy. Do we have a strategy moving forward, Mzila? One that satisfies us as, ordinary citizens, but even satisfies mining houses and government, and the ability to take advantage of the place we find ourselves with the future of mining?
I absolutely love that question. And I think it's a question that all South Africans should be asking. What is our plan? What is the economic plan that we want as a country to take advantage and to leverage of the mineral resources that we have in the ground, the natural resources that we have in the ground, the people resources that we have on surface, they're not in the ground. So we have many resources which are broadly referred to in terms of the capitals that we need to invest such that we're able to grow our economy. And within that, where do we see mining playing a role? And this is where I come in terms of really pushing forward the role of mining. And you mentioned in your introduction the positive impact that mining had on GDP. So that's once you've taken out commodities from the ground, you found a market, you've sold them, hopefully you've been able to capture great prices. But mining is critical for growth because what makes for a good economy is what I call mobility. This is moving of people, products, and utilities from one place to the other. So infrastructure for rail, that's going to need materials which need to be mined. Telecoms is going to need copper and many other commodities in order to be able to transmit information. We need pipelines to be able to transport our water. That needs different types of pipes, steel and other alloyed materials. And so to be able to drive an economy, you're going to need mining. And the benefits that mining then also gives you then start being realized in terms of the social benefits that it's able to deliver in terms of employment creation, SMME development. And let's not think of entrepreneurship only when it comes to the sexy industries such as IT and so forth. An explorer, as dirty as he may be in his overall and boots, is an entrepreneur. It's those pioneers that we need across our different sectors to be able to drive the economy, and mining is exactly one of those.
Mzila, you mentioned issues of moving people, moving goods. Let's talk about Transnet. Help us understand where we are today and even the Mineral Council South Africa's position on Transnet today.
So as Minerals Council, we played a very active role and we're very proactive in engaging Transnet. And as far as the need for change and the need for transformation of logistics. And you've seen the changes that have been announced, firstly, in terms of the management team, and that has provided for excellent engagements. Even up to yesterday at the mining industry, we've been engaging with the management team under the leadership of Mzila, who's the chairman of the board, and they've been updating us in terms of progress that they're making as a team, but also progress that they're making in their interaction with some of the members of the Minerals Council, where you would have seen an announcement from Transnet earlier today in terms of delivery of locomotives. The industry had a significant role to play in that. And then the other change, though, you would have seen is some of the changes coming through in terms of reform, which we're very encouraged by, and we want to see those manifest, as we go ahead and see a restructuring and a much better, effective, and efficient Transnet operating through a partnership, again, between government and private sector, through private sector participation, as anticipated with the freight logistics roadmap.
That's all we have time for today, Mzila. I would have loved to keep engaging, but we'll certainly make plans in future. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. That was CEO of the Minerals Council South Africa, Mzila Mthenjane.